Um, Hello.
Hi.
Thank you so much for coming, Jenny. My name is Kelvin. Once again, Kelvin Akpaloo, and I'm with Eurobug International Youth Work in Collaboration Limited. The creative director for Eurobug, and this consultation is going to be about a project that we are on. It's a KA2 project, called the Inside Out. And a quick maybe background, a little bit about the background of this project is about using or how we use outdoor activities to kind of like get migrants and also young people that do not have like education or unemployment, to bring them together, to educate them, and also to bring them together in a way to have like an inclusive society, an engaging society. So this kind of like conversation is all going to be around that. And Tallaght Community Arts, like since I was a child, I've been in Tallaght Community Arts. And Jenny, you are one of my mentors, and
Mhm.
as one of the most incredible people within
Yeah.
Tallaght Community Arts, I wanted us to have like a bit of a dialogue about it. But before that, I just want to ask you to introduce yourself and Tallaght Community Arts, if that's okay.
Yes. Thank you so much, Kelvin, for your kind words. My name is Jennifer Webster. I'm creative producer of Tallaght Community Arts, and we are an arts participation company based here in Dublin, Ireland. And Tallaght Community Arts has been going now for 25 years. We are funded by the Arts Council of Ireland and also by our local municipality as well. And we also receive funding as well from different funding funding organisations such as Creative Ireland and the HSE, which is our health service executive as well.
Wow,
And
thank
we
you so
do
much for the introduction,
no,
Jenny.
yeah.
So my next question, or to go straight into the discussion, is more about how or what kind of methods, first of all, does Tallaght Community Arts, like outdoor activities methods that Tallaght Community Arts do to engage like young migrants or migrants from the community, and also even young people that
Mhm,
have like a from disadvantaged background, unemployment or
mhm.
maybe education. What kind of methods do you guys use? And then how does this methods actually work?
So you're talking in terms of using outdoor space.
Yeah, outdoor space or
Yeah.
even games that you do, these kind of.
Yeah. So what I would say is, so in one of our core projects at the moment is called Creative Places MacUillíam. And MacUillíam is an estate in Tallaght. It's a very culturally diverse estate. Its residents, it also has a lot of socio-economic disadvantage also. We have done a 2-year research pilot in the estate, and we are now into a 3-year arts program in the estate. Um, it has no physical indoor space that we can work. So we have no choice but to do a lot of the work, all of the work nearly outdoors. Now, we are a site specific arts organization. A lot of our work is site specific. And a lot of our artists, our tech team, all of that are very used to working site specifically, and also are trained in how to do so also. The first thing I would say that we would do is we just get to know the space. Like, we get to know the space, we walk the space, we don't just arrive in a space. So in this estate, it has about 3 green areas, but we get to know which is the area that the young people hang out in. Where do people gravitate to? Why do people gravitate to a certain area? So I think I can't emphasize that enough, is getting to know a space, and getting to know a space from the point of view of the people who live there. So let them show you the space. Let them see this, let them introduce the space to you. And also find the natural paths within the estate. You see like a pathway, but then you see the line going across the grass where everybody
Yeah.
actually does walk. They don't use the path. So get to know those natural lines within an estate, or within a place. Um, and really, appreciate and take into consideration those who use it, because it's not your space, it's theirs. So you really have to take care of that space and use the space in accordance to the people who live there, their wishes. We have done lots of work outdoors. We have done DJing workshops, dance workshops, dance performances, arts workshops. We've set up photographic studios. We've had mapping projects all outside. So a lot of the time it's thinking and in all weathers. So what do we need to make things happen? So we have, I mean, first and foremost, like everything, when we go to work at a site, the first thing that we do is make the site safe. And our team would always be there probably an hour in advance before we do anything. And you check the site, you're checking for broken glass, needles, anything unexpected. And that goes for any area. You just check it, you check the site and make sure that it's safe and inform people of what you're doing. Make sure there's nothing else going on in that area, because I said it's not ours. We only borrow it for the time and to have the respect for the space. So checking the space and then getting stuck in. It is totally possible to work outdoors, and actually sometimes it's totally preferable to work outdoors. I think even in the winter, just see what your participants need. So when we did a dance performance and a dance workshop in December, it was freezing cold, but it wasn't raining, which is great. And a few days before the project, we said, okay, what do we need for this to happen? So we have our music, we had everything. We didn't need wires, we didn't need any kind of infrastructure. We were enough. We decorated the space with signs, so everybody, you know, so you make sure you're in a space a good bit before something happens. So there's a type of you create a type of spectacle so people kind of look and go, oh, what's going on? So that's your call out. I mean, you know, and make it big, because it's big enough so someone looks out their window or but a couple of days beforehand, what we did was we bought lots of hats, scarves and gloves. And so many of the young people and adults who came out to dance needed that. They didn't have that. So don't assume that someone, you know, especially if it's in a disadvantaged area, do not assume that anyone is going to come prepared. You be the one prepared. So if you need to have a basket of umbrellas, if you need to have hats, scarves, gloves, if you need to have water, if you need to have any type of provisions, is to make sure that you have those kind of pastoral supports that you need around you to make the arts or your project happen and work in. So I mean, what we know inside out is the art and the activity. But I think more and more we're learning to support work outdoors or site specifically. We know how to do the art. We know how all that works. We, you know, our facilitators, they're totally you know, trained and know how to do their art form, but it's supporting what is going on around the art is or around an activity that is really important. So like that for the winter, making sure that those participants would be warm when they're outside in the freezing cold, and they were, and they had a great time.
Wow. One of the things that I like hearing you, I really love to hear is, and it kind of like it's a repetition coming, is community and community engagement, like awareness, the informing the community. So your methodology is not only just about using art methods like dance and anything, is not only using that to engage the young people, but your method is also including the community's involvement and allowing the community to open the spaces for you before you use it. And that is something that is really remarkable, because sometimes people just go into a space thinking that, oh, this is what the community wants. But I think your methodology is surrounding every single person involved. And that is really, really amazing in that.
Yeah. And to be community informed is just so important.
And in that sense, how this method, how do you actually, first of all, present it to the community for the community to accept it? the
Okay,
methodology?
so
How do you do that?
so we try to cover all bases in making sure that people know what is happening. And of course, it goes out on the usual call outs on social media and all of that. But I know it may not be always an environmentally good choice, but we also do a printout and put a leaflet into every door, because we need to make, especially in this type of space, we need to physically make sure that every resident has been informed of this so they can participate. So certainly in that way. Also get to know all of the other agencies that may work in the space that you're working in, because they will have already done and you can connect together, and together you're stronger. So they may have already done some groundwork, so you can actually work together. So we work a lot of the time in the estate with a football group, and they meet every Thursday afternoon. So
Wow.
they might share our work, we share theirs, and we're currently at the moment doing a poster for all the different agencies about what is happening in where we work. And it's all outdoor. It's not even a dedicated space outdoor. It is just a field. But, you know, working together with other organizations as well, because together you're stronger, and they might have information that you haven't found, or vice versa. And, you know, you've got support there. You can always call on them if you need some information. And one thing about community engagement and in the type of work that, especially when you're doing outside work like this, there is a real culture of where I'm working where a lot of children just play outdoors, unsupervised. Now, if you were to try, they can just engage with you because you're physically outdoors in an outdoor space. A lot of the time it's really challenging to get, you know, photo permissions for these young children, because you need to engage the parents, and sometimes that's just not possible. But if you're out in an open space, they can still participate, and they're participating in their space, in a public space. So it's inclusive in that there's so many hoops that like, say that young person has to jump through. They may have to engage a parent, get them to go down, fill in a form. Again, they can be barriers. We can't assume that all parents want to do that, but the young person could be there ready to engage. And when you're outdoors in their public space, they can engage.
Wow. Jenny, I think so in general, what I'm hearing from Tallaght Community Art is more about your methodology for outdoor activities is you first make sure the community is involved. You do the collaborations with other NGOs that could support because they might know the area or have young people. And also you use creative methods like the arts, using the art as a form to actually engage the youth, engage the young people. And then also you mentioned that you are also very well connected with your facilitators that you guys also work with. So in general, it's a really well structured methodology that I think that it not just impact the young people in itself, but on the whole community in Tallaght, I'm assuming as a whole.
Yes, absolutely. And we like to, you know, do training for all our facilitators and bring them all together. But our facilitators, but also our support workers, our tech teams as well, they all come together and do the same training. So we all understand each other's methodologies and each other's way of working. It is a little bit of a different way of working, like, you know, and to try and understand that different way of working, and just being in a room and having everybody in a room. And we might do that like once, twice a year, in that we can all just connect with each other and go, okay, this is what I'm doing, this is what I was doing, and then to make sure that we're all on the same page. You could have a facilitator that's completely not on your page, so it's important to have those moments regardless of output. So regardless of your being in workshop or site specific mode, away from that, just to come talk and let you know, you let the facilitators and your community workers know this is the way that you want to work, and ensure that it's the way they also want to work, and that we're all on the same page together.
Wow.
Because
Wow.
everybody on your team represents the project, whether
Wow.
that is somebody who is, you know, is in tech, whether it's the sound person or whether it's the facilitator, doesn't matter. We're all in the same team, we're all together, and we all need to work on the same way, because it's just very important, because somebody might have a different methodology to you, and creating that space where you could get to know that, and then maybe they're just not the right person to work on your project, because it takes a long time to build up a team, to build up a community, to get a community to trust you. And once you have that, it's something that I hold very, very dear. And it's kind of, if I gain trust, then that is sacred to me.
Wow. So I think before I move on to the next question, what I'm finding, like, wrapping up your whole methodology is all around like creating a community within a community. So your methodology also involves like all the people that surround your project take ownership of the project. They don't hear or feel that, oh, this is Tallaght Community Arts and I'm just working for them, but actually they
Yes.
feel like they are part of Tallaght Community Arts and we are doing this.
Oh yes,
It's quite
a team.
amazing.
And also, we also try to work with the community where the work is happening as much as possible, and to give opportunities to residents there, because, as I said, a lot of the work, we always look at ourselves as being kind of trainers to communities. We love the idea that we walk away and the community will be having these type of activities themselves and know how to do them. So a lot of the time we ask kind of residents in the community to come and be stewarding the area.
Wow.
And be a part of it, because it's not our community, it is theirs.
So this really clearly shows that your methods are working. Then the next question is that no, it does. If the communities are involved, getting engaged and pushing and feeling part and taking ownership of the projects, not just saying that we are helping the organization, it clearly is a sign.
I never like to feel that I'm doing onto an area. I want the area to work with me. You can't just come and go, here you go, this is your project, this is what we're doing. It has to be, they have to have an involvement as well.
Wow. And then in that case, my second question is more on what is the benefits then? Like, what is the benefit that you see that is coming to you personally, and also to the organization, and also the people that you work with, like the young people? What benefits that, like, these projects or these outdoor activities or spaces that you create, the organization creates, you see that is coming to the organization, to you personally as a worker, and also to the young people?
So I would say, working in community sites specifically, we definitely have, I think, increased engagement. We increase the capacity of our facilitators and the community in looking at different ways in which things can be done. Yes, definitely increased engagement. I can't really speak for the community, but I would say that, there's increased kind of a sense of community in them, getting to know one another in a different way. So we are kind of facilitating ways in which people can come and say hi to their neighbors who they may not know, and get to know people so there's definitely an increased sense of community that I see. But I said I'm cautious to say that, because but I would speak for me personally. I mean, the arts had a huge impact on my life. It was my calling, and definitely it made such a difference in increased confidence, finding my people. And I think the arts, and definitely the ways in which we work, it's a fantastic way of getting messages across. In sometimes, a community is trying to say something, and it could be trying to say something to, I don't know, the powers that be, to local authorities, stuff like that. And sometimes when you activate a space and you say something in a different way, they hear it more. For example, we've done when we started doing a lot of our site-specific work in this community, the local council started cleaning up more. because we were, advertising, and the papers were coming out to take pictures. The Lord Mayor was coming out if there was an opening of the lighting of the Christmas tree. Little things like that, you are just publicizing the area just that little bit more. And I think in that way, different people were looking. And definitely the council was kind of going, so there was increased council activity. There was increased cleanups from the council, looking after the estate a bit more. And we recently were able to partner with a department in the council because of the work that we had done and the reports that we'd done in our research phase. A department in the council asked us to come together with them to put in a funding application for more streetlights. So I've never been involved in such a thing before. Because of the work that we were doing, our report kind of said it's difficult to do stuff in the evening time because there isn't a lot of street lighting. So because of our reports and the work that was being done there, they looked at this report, put in a submission to the Department of Justice, and we have received nearly 100,000 to get new lights in the estate and to also run a light arts project. So
Wow.
it's when you work outside and you work in that way, it can have a lot of power. The people have been crying out for that infrastructure for quite some time, but when the space was activated and someone else said, oh, we're trying to activate this space, it's challenging, you can only do it at certain times because of the challenges of the light. So I think there's huge advantages to activating public spaces. There's huge advantages to the community, to the artists who work there, and the engagement, but also it has bigger ramifications, definitely. Like that, it's possible to get a council to give more streetlights. I never thought that was going to be possible. I didn't even think that would even be in my, that really surprises me as an artist and as a producer that would even happen. But there definitely is power there.
Wow. Wow. Like, I'm amazed because for me, if I'm to even talk a little bit personally on my connection with Tallaght Community Arts, like as a young person, when I got get to know Tallaght Community Arts, and we did, like as you mentioned previously, like you use activities like dance, DJing, all of that. And I grew up in it, and the benefit I got from it as a participant was more of the fact that I was able to find a community that I belong to, to be able to share my skills, to feel like I belong, and I think one thing that Tallaght Community Arts, for me, is your magic, is the word that you use, art, because art is very like diverse, and you open the space for the young people. And for me, because of that, I met you. You are my mentor. Even still now, you are still the same. And it has become, I grew up and become like, it's my career too now.
Yeah.
And but what I love also, even the benefits that you were mentioning, is the integration, that even small activities that you guys do, it bring the community together, young people from all different backgrounds, migrants or people from the suffering from like economics background or anything. They come together to gel and work together. So your projects are really bringing community together, and also the whole community development. That one too is really powerful, because this outdoor activities that you guys are doing is making the council also see that, oh, we need to do this, and then also even elevates the community and create accessibility for other young people, or the new people that are also coming into our community. And so it gets to show that even your ideas that you have is not having only the impact on the participant or young people or your organization, but in general, the whole of Tallaght. And that is beautiful, really. And
Thank you.
and in that sense, I want to ask, with all of these benefits, or I'm assuming that the work is not easy. So what are the challenges that like Tallaght Community Art faces in order
Uh,
to accomplish this?
And do you mean in terms of working outdoors or
Yeah, working
or
outdoors.
yeah?
Yes, even
Okay, so
working outdoors and also indoors, because the stuff that you do behind the scene goes outdoor also.
yeah,
So
I would say there's always challenges financially in finding money to do this kind of stuff. So that's always there. Um, but we always find a way. Um, different challenges is like, I mean, working outdoors, we created kind of like a physical infrastructure that we have. Like we have 4 big gazebos. We know who to work with. Like we have battery. We don't use power generators, but we have battery generators, so we have an infrastructure around us. We don't need electricity. We don't need, we know now how to set up where we are. We can do that. We're not relying on anyone, but you know, there can be huge difficulties with weather. I mean, lighting the Christmas tree, we had our gazebos up, but there was an absolute storm, and if there was torrential rain, that's really difficult to work in sometimes. You know, you're asking, you're asking the community to come out in that weather. That's not easy. Um, and that can have impacts, on your next project. Oh, I'm not going out of that. That was terrible. So you never know what's going to happen weather-wise. Other problems or real challenges that we have had is when you work outdoors in a community, you just don't know what's going to happen. Um, since we began working in the estate, 2 young men have physically died on the green where we work. So that has changed our work and also delayed our work. Like we had a project was happening on a Saturday, the young man died on a Wednesday. We were immediately going to cancel, and we did cancel what we did on the green because we didn't want anything special. We wanted to respect that. But also you're working with a community where their needs, the needs are challenging. And as I said, I started off in this working in theatre, but you really have to balance that with the community's challenges become your challenges, and it's a different way of working. So definitely in terms of child protection and all of those areas, we have had to, I mean, of course we have our basic training, we know all of the correct things that we have to do, but working in a disadvantaged area, those needs are much more, and we needed way more support with that. So we had to have more training, more connection with different agencies such as Barnardo's, who assisted us with this, because a lot of the issues, there was more and they were of a higher need than what we'd be used to. Also, in terms of cultural diversity, I would say sometimes that can be challenging. There can be people that don't want to work with some people, and we have to look at that. We have to always make sure that the material and the work that we're doing is culturally equal, and and that we are always looking at that. As a white woman, middle-aged white woman, I don't always have the right to even analyze that. So I have a cultural diversity officer that comes and looks at how we're doing and ensuring that inclusivity is there, and if it's not, ways in which we can address that, change it, and empower people to also change it. I recently had one of our young people working on the estate who applied to do a European exchange, and her application was really, really lovely and it was nice, but I was like, you're not saying anything about really what you want to say, and I was like, she talked about not being represented publicly, not being represented in her teachers and education, and I was like, you go for that, you say that, do you know what I mean? Do you have a right to say that? And she was successful on the European project. But yeah, they are challenges that I'm always aware of, and I'm always aware that our facilitators, so we have to give facilitators and our team the space, even after any event, to just go, anything happen, anything you need to offload, is to always check in and care where things are happening.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, Jenny. I think listening to you, what I'm getting is more like the challenges is not just only on like organizational basis, but the
Mhm.
personal connections that you also have with the people from migrant background or the people you're working with also do have an impact, because they are, as you said, their issue is your issue. And
Mhm.
it's something that it is challenging, you know, personally, on a personal level within it.
Mhm.
Um, the only thing is, this was the final question. That was the final question. But
Okay.
the last one that I just want to ask you is that like we have about only 5 minutes or 4 minutes left, but what is the message that you can give to other organizations out there in 2 minutes? Like, what would be the message out there that wants to follow your method on how you guys are doing using outdoor activities to basically engage in a community and to bring migrants and young people also
Mhm.
that are suffering from economy or
Mhm.
employment together? What's your
Yeah.
message?
My message, I guess, would be your work is important, keep going. Um, my message would also be, sometimes it definitely is challenging working outdoors, but it is rewarding. So that is the way you work. You work with the weather, you work with the space, you work with what you got. Um, and I think, I recognize that at times it is challenging, but it is also rewarding, and it's accessible. Um, I guess another message that I would say is, participants are not just for a project. I always say that they're for life. It's not just what you need from them for a certain project. It's what they need also. They may come to you and look for references, and you're writing a reference. Yes, you are opening up the portal of connection. You don't get to close it. You've asked for a connection with the community. It's not on your terms. It's on the community's terms. Is not to try and fit into your needs, you fit into theirs. And again, wherever you can do a bit of research or even a research and pilot project, I would say that is hugely beneficial as well, because you find out so much. Again, don't be closed in your ideas. Go to a community and try out something, and try out different times, different spaces, and see what works, and let it inform you. Don't just go, okay, I think this is the best place, this is the best thing, and blah blah. Have to be open to change. You definitely have to be open to change, because the community and the space has a lot to teach you. Definitely has a lot to teach you. And just the engagement that you get from outdoor work, and I actually think it feels really good when you work outdoors. It can, I know we recently did a project in a forest, and a performance in a forest. We spent a month in a forest, and we said, oh my God, we all
Yeah.
felt so good just being in nature.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Jenny, thank you so much. Thank you so much. On behalf of Eurobug and all our partners that is part of this project, the Inside Out project, we really want to say thank you so much. Especially the co-founders of this organization, the main coordinators also in Iceland. We and Eurobug, we all want to say thank you. And Tallaght Community Arts for giving us your
My
time.
pleasure.
This project, this discussion is not just only going to be in a file, it's something that is going to be documented and really going to expand and also showcase to other organizations to be able to learn from your methodologies. So it's not something that we just, I take a quote from here when you said participants are not just for a project, they are for lifetime, and I will say the same thing about this conversation. It's not just for consultation, but is for a lifetime
And I
of
would just say
change.
one more thing. Always, when you have people who are participating,
Yeah,
always look, where are the people who have not engaged and why? Some may not want to, and that's totally fine. But what are the barriers that stopped someone else not being there? If you're in a space, go look around a corner. Who's there and why didn't they join?
thank you so much,
Thank
Jenny.
you.
And I
My
would like to say
pleasure.
see you soon. It's a pleasure.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.